My spot's taken up. Let me try to find a different spot.
Okay.
But if you want to jump in, I guess here we go.
Yeah.
So my name's Scott Sparrow, and this is my brother Charlie Sparrow.
Hello.
Welcome to High Ground Odyssey.
Welcome, everybody.
When my brother Homer was called off to war, I stayed home and built spreadsheets to try to learn more. While he learned to lead men through the darkest of course, I learned from a Muppet to trust in the Force. So he'll bring the stories and I'll bring the clips. He'll bring the glory and I'll tell some jokes. So come to the high ground and journey with me. Come along to our high ground Odyssey, and we'll see you on the high ground.
Why High Ground Odyssey? What's going on?
Well, that's a great question. So many things, many reasons, and we'll get into some of them later. But the Odyssey is a journey, and part of that comes because my middle name is Homer. I'm named after my great uncle Homer. There's a name with the author of the Iliad and the Odyssey, where Odysseus, goes from in his journey after the Battle of Troy, trying to get home to Ithaca. The Odyssey for me is a little bit similar in that I've spent 29 years at this point in the Army, and I'm kind of in a little bit of a transition. I developed Parkinson's disease, and so the Army is in the process of going through the medical determination to tell me thank you for your service to a grateful nation and have a nice life. So it's time for that. I always told people I always wanted to be an asset and not a liability. And if I ever got to the point where I felt like I was a liability to the organization, that it would be time to go. So I guess that's where we're at, is it's time to go.
We're going to get a lot more in later episodes into your military experience. So those stories are going to come out organically, I'm sure. But let's right up top. Let me ask you what brought on the Parkinson's? Why?
Yeah.
So why so young?
Yeah. So I'm 46. Started noticing symptoms when I was 40. I guess it's been about 6 years ago now. And really, there's no way to know for sure why anybody develops Parkinson's. There's a lot of research being done, and hopefully part of our experience here and part of our channel will raise some awareness for Parkinson's and Parkinson's research, and that would be an incredible goal for us. Michael J. Fox and his foundation obviously have done incredible work with not just raising money for research, but setting policy changes and getting people aware of and supporting research for Parkinson's disease prevention and just really knowledge. We don't really know. So that's kind of a long way to answer your question. The shorter answer is probably it stems from being in several explosions, especially in 2006 and 2007. I was a platoon leader in Ramadi, Iraq, doing route clearance, mostly for Ready First Brigade and for the 1/6 Marines. So, probably getting my bell rung I think I counted 20 times. I almost wish it was 19 or 21 because 20 sounds like such a round number. It's almost unbelievable, but yeah, about 20 times my vehicle was targeted by an improvised explosive device as we traveled through the city and tried to find and disarm explosives before they went off on coalition forces or on civilians.
And as I learned from one of your sergeants uh, during that time, actively working to be bullet catchers too. I mean, you guys went in front. You were the tip of the spear, clearing out explosives and drawing bullets so that the guys behind you could get to mission safely.
Yeah, and we took that mission pretty seriously. We had vehicles that were designed specifically for surviving explosive blasts with V-shaped holes and extra armor and clearance and all the rest. So yeah, I mean, when you've seen a Marine Humvee get hit by the same explosion that would have popped your tire and it um, goes up in a ball of flames, it's hard not to put yourself in harm's way to make sure that the people behind you who are really truly at risk can have safe passage. So yeah, we took that mission seriously. And I want to highlight too, not recklessly. I think I had a former platoon sergeant come into the command post one evening and told me I was getting a little reckless out there, Lieutenant Sparrow, and I really made me upset. Probably one of two times I've been the most upset in my life, and I just really was doing all that we could to make sure that we were mitigating all the risks we possibly could. So it's a balance, right? I mean, it's a dangerous mission, but we were very intentional in mitigating the risk where we could and accepting prudent risk when we couldn't.
I am really glad that you got to that today. I hadn't thought about going there, but that's an important part of being a leader and learning to lead is understanding the risks and being willing to take the risks in the smartest way possible. But most
Yeah.
things that are worth doing are risky. That's Homer's background, and I grew up just thinking that you were the coolest person in the world. And I would fight anybody on the playground that said their older brother was cooler because my older brother was the coolest. And then you went off and did these incredible things, and I have always had an interest in leadership and started I think I was 13
Yeah.
when dad gave me a copy of 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. And I've always had that interest in leadership, and I did a little leadership in high school with sports and school government and stuff like that. And then into my professional life, the many jobs that I've bounced around in when I've ended up as a team lead, I've leaned on your experience and your wisdom gained to balance out my interest in the books and in the theory. What is cool to me about what we're doing now and why
Yeah.
I think it's valuable is that this is how I learned to be a leader, throwing the theory against your practical experience and then workshopping things that I was trying with the people I was leading. What I want to do is I want to expose um more people to your experience and your perspective.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Charlie. I just want to highlight a couple of things you just said. You were 13 years old when you started studying and thinking about leadership. When I was 13, I was not thinking about leadership at all. I was thinking about donuts and riding my bike And I was definitely not thinking about, like, what does it mean to be a leader and what does leadership mean? I think what's interesting about our perspectives, and I think this is what you're alluding to, or maybe straight on the head saying it, is that, we have almost opposite experiences. My experience growing up was on the farm milking cows. Like I wanted to get away from home as soon as I possibly could and join the army. And I don't think I was probably 19 when you were 13. Is that about right?
Yeah,
Somewhere in there.
7-ish years apart.
Seven,
Yeah.
yeah, 7, 8 years, somewhere in there. So that was about the time I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with life and going off to basic training and serving a mission. And so I think we've almost developed at the same time like an interest in doing hard things and in figuring out who we were. But you were 7 years younger than me, and we really developed a kind of a unique friendship. But we used to sit around the kitchen table, and I used to make French fries a lot. It helps to have potatoes in the fields,
Yep.
and we would eat French fries and just like talk and think we were so funny and so
Oh,
cool.
so funny and so cool. Yeah. Yeah,
And we
absolutely.
weren't, and we're not now. But we always said we were going to start a radio station and have a radio show. Of course, this was long before podcasts. And now that we're older, and we have some time and space, we just said, why don't we do this?
Yeah.
I mean, we've always said we're going to, let's just do it
Yep.
and figure it out. So that's part of it. So I appreciate that story. But yeah, to your origin story too, you kind of downplayed how cool you were as a kid. Student body president, captain of the football team. You're like, oh, I played some sports, and now you're the man out there and won the state championship in football, and like not a small role in that, and the star in every high school play, and like you were a rock star, and continue to be a rock star. So don't downplay yourself too much.
Well, thank you.
I won't let you get away with that. But I think so. For format, that's a great introduction. Thanks for those questions, Charlie. I think you'll notice I'm outside. I love outside. I can't get enough of it. I live in Southern California now, and the weather's nice every day. And the other reason I'm outside is because my house is a shoebox because it's expensive in California. So those are the contrasting elements of living here. There's no room in the house. I've got 3 kids living at home still, and so outside is where I'm comfortable being. And we've tried several methods of trying to figure out how to record this and how to get together and do this, but technology has afforded us an opportunity to kind of record this remotely. So we'll see how this goes, but I'm
Yeah.
excited.
And
And
so many of our conversations have been me walking around in the oil field, talking to you on a pad and or a hotel or around my house, and you walking around your house or a park. And when we tried to sit down, we've we've uh we've had so many false starts to get to this recording, and mostly technology issues stopped us, but also just we don't function sitting looking at each other talking. That's just never how we've interacted. And
no,
so throwing ourselves into that, like into a Zoom and trying to be natural was really weird. And so you being out in the park and me kind of hanging out at my computer is just much more. I don't even know if I'm going to use this computer. I just have it because it's what I'm doing when we talk.
You're
So,
well, you'll figure out quickly too. Charlie's the computer nerd in the group. I have no understanding or knowledge of technology. He's also the what do you call it? Culture nerd.
pop
Pop culture or whatever. I don't know anything about pop culture. If
you're
you
dismissal
Charlie
of
will say,
even the label.
yeah, I don't even know what it's called. um, Charlie will frequently say, "Oh, have you seen this movie?" I haven't seen it, Charlie. I promise you, I've not seen the movie. In fact, ask me, Charlie, if I've watched Star Wars.
So have you ever seen, you've seen Star Wars though, right? Like
No,
Star Wars.
no, I have not seen Star Wars.
Surely.
I did. No, I did watch the first episode. Not the original first episode, but episode 1.
You immediately made
with the
so many people angry. Like if anybody's gonna write us letters, that's the first letter. Is you
Hey,
calling it
look,
the first movie, episode 1.
it's I clarified. I know
You
I know
did. You
enough.
did good.
I know
You did
enough
good.
to know that's controversial. But yeah, I watched that one, and everybody gives it crap. I didn't think it was that bad. The pod racing was pretty cool, and I've been to Disneyland and ridden the Star Tours and done the pod racing. So yeah, so I'm not like anti Star Wars. I just haven't had an excuse to watch it.
That maybe maybe if we get enough viewers to merit such a thing, we could have a bonus feed where we watch
Mm.
movies and we
Mm.
can go through the Star Trek and Star Wars movies.
I don't know. I'm a little reluctant. See, at this point, I'm at a point now where it's like almost better
A
if I
point of
don't
pride.
see it. Like it's
Yeah.
a point of pride. And
Yeah.
maybe that's my pride coming through. But yeah, at this point, it's more novel not to have seen it than it is to
Yeah.
have seen it.
Because then you don't get to be the guy that's never seen Star Wars, and that is
Right.
a thing.
It's its own reward here. So I think you've got some clips for us to watch, and I think the format for this is this. We've got, so over the course of the next year, so this being week 1 of January 2026, we are on a dead sprint to just get everything we can do in this year. I mentioned I've got Parkinson's disease. It's progressing pretty rapidly, definitely faster than I'm comfortable with. It makes me super nervous, and I've got fire under me, feeling pressure to get things done sooner rather than later. So we've got some trips planned, and we'll announce some of those things coming up. We've also got this podcast we're going to be doing weekly. As part of the podcast, we're going to watch some video clips because Charlie thinks I need to be cultured, which is great. And I want to emphasize here too, Charlie mentioned his affinity for books and learning the psychology of leadership. And so he's the guy that's going to bring some practicality and some jargon and some vocabulary to my life experiences. And I think that's a good contrast. I hope that works out well. I think has worked out well for us to be able to talk, here's the reality of experience, and then here's why that makes sense academically. So we'll try to do that balance. As part of that, we're writing a book. We're gonna post sections of that book, a section at a time, on our website. As that grows from a blog essentially into a book, the goal is to get that published by the end of the year. So it's a lofty goal, but it's Charlie and I have to set lofty goals, or we don't feel like they're hard enough to warrant working hard to achieve them. So
That's true. We for as much as I'm a pop culture sit around listening to book guy, I love a hard thing, and what
Yeah.
you've taught me is to just put things on the calendar and then just do that thing. And because it's on the calendar, we do the thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm
that's
the boss. I'm the boss of future me. That guy's past me's a jerk. That guy's a jerk. I hate that guy,
speaking
but
of
he's my
terrible leaders.
yeah, but he's my boss. So he tells me what to do. If he puts it on the calendar, I have to do it.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. And sorry, go.
No, go ahead.
So I didn't even think about it until right now, but the format of this podcast has really ended up being almost the compromise between the things that we want to most get done. You wanting to get
Yeah.
your book done and have me because of the way our conversations have always gone, me kind of geeking out over some concept and
Yeah.
talking to you about it and us kind of writing a book together, and then me just always wanting to get you in front of the leaders like Picard and Yoda
Yeah.
and Leslie Knope and Ron Swanson
Yeah. And I don't know
and
who
just
any of
going
those people you just mentioned a bunch of people. I have no idea who those people are. So
well, well,
So we're in for a treat, folks. We're in for. I don't know if this is. I'm gonna embarrass myself. This could go any way. I could just come out and be like Yoda master level leadership, or I could flop, and this could be bad. I'm trying to think of an exact cultural example of the opposite of a Yoda master, but uh, you might have to fill that in for me.
all right, let's dive in then
Oh.
to our first clip.
Okay. Well,
Uh
and again, you're making me use technology here. We dumbed this down to the dumbest dumb possible. I've got my clips loaded on my screen, and all I have to do supposedly is push this thing. Charlie's got it worked out, so I just he's he's remoted into my computer and phone and set this up. So all I have to do is my Neanderthal self push this button and it's
y-
supposed to work. So what are we watching first here?
that's because all you need is a push pins and a map, and you can
That's right.
direct battles.
That's right.
Uh,
Don't give me
so
all that technology stuff.
so we got this at pushpin level here. So
That's right.
we're gonna dive right into peak of pop culture to me, and that is Luke in Dagobah with Yoda, the Jedi
Okay.
Master trying to learn to be a Jedi. So Luke crashed his X-wing into the swamp, and Yoda's gonna try to direct him and lead him to pull that out using the Force.
Okay. Before we jump into this, there's R2D2. I know what he looks like. I don't know what he does. What's
Oh,
as I look at the screen here before I push this button, you mentioned Yoda and Luke and the Force, but what's R2D2's role here?
so R2D2 is one of the greatest sidekicks of all time, and I'll any chance I get sing the praises of a good sidekick because I love a good sidekick. And he's an astromech droid, and that's probably all you need to know. That gives you all the context.
That doesn't help at all. That's like you could have said he's a googly womp, but that's the same thing. It doesn't mean anything to me. What does he do? What's his role?
So he rides in the ship with Luke, and he keeps the ship running. So he's the co-pilot and the
He has no
air
arms.
stuff. He's got
How
little,
does
he
he?
does he does he has
He
little
does?
arms that stick out, little
Okay.
like the
Okay.
claw on a buffalo. He's got that kind of
Yeah.
situation.
Put it in terms I understand,
Yeah.
man. He's got little robot arms like
Yep.
with screwdrivers and yeah. Okay. I dig it. Okay. Maybe we need a ready, set, go. Do you think we need
Okay.
a ready, set, and then go?
You're
I'm gonna say ready, set, and then
way.
go on go. I'm gonna
Okay,
say ready,
perfect.
set, and then go on go. All right.
Perfect.
I got my screen blacked out here. Okay, ready, set, go.
No. We'll never get it out now.
So certain are you? Always with you, what cannot be done. Give you nothing that I say.
Master, moving stones around is one thing. This is totally different.
No, no different. Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No, try not. Do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah, so good. So what that reminds me of a movie I have seen is The Karate Kid. So in
Yeah.
the Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi's telling Daniel's like talking about he's gonna maybe do karate, and Mr. Miyagi says, you walk on the right side of the road, you're safe. You walk on the left side of the road, you're safe. You walk in the middle, you get squished just like a grape. And then he says, karate do yes, okay. Karate do no, okay. If you karate do yes, so get the squish just like grape. Yeah,
That's a
so
great quote. Yes. That's
yeah,
it.
that's it.
That's it.
Try, do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to what's the message you're trying to? Are you trying to tell me I'm trying too hard? I need to just get after it. What are you telling
No,
me, Charlie?
no, I mean, I think we both have a little bit of try. We're try hards and we want to do things the best possible, but I think you have made it possible for me to do creative projects because you say these things we do on these days because we do them, and that takes that try away. Like try comes from an old French word that basically means sifting through things or
Mm,
picking something out. Like it's not actual effort. It's not actually doing. It's like preparing or thinking about doing, or like if a hypnotist uses the word try, they're making you not do a thing. So if you're under hypnosis and a hypnotist says try to raise your arm, they do that because they call it a blocker word because it prevents you from lifting it if they say try.
interesting. Interesting. I love
So
that. You are a nerd.
I'm the biggest nerd. Yeah.
No, that's great. It's a French word. You're awesome. I love it. So let me tell you the practical side of this, because
Yeah.
yeah. So I was in Pennsylvania. It's November. So November in Pennsylvania is cold and rainy,
Oh.
and it's like one of those days that's extra cold, and the wind was blowing, and like I felt like icicles were forming on the snot coming out of my nose, and of course I was out for a run that day, and I was with let's see, at that time I was a major, and I had a captain with me and a lieutenant. So the three of us were running together, and I was just super miserable, and my legs were cold even though I was running. And I turned to the captain and I said, why, what are we doing? Why are we here? And I expected him to say, sir, we're trying to get fit so that we can be in shape. Physical fitness and health is important. Or, sir, we're soldiers and we fight and win the nation's wars, or some profound thing like that. And he said, sir, we're running today because it's Wednesday. And I was like, I thought,
That's
well, I thought
beautiful.
about it. I thought about that long and hard. I was like, Wednesday? Yeah, I guess we run on. He's like, sir, we run on Wednesday. We do our long runs on Wednesdays. And like, if he had said anything else, I would have just quit and gone home, because no other reason was good enough to be out in the cold, miserable. Because if it's any other reason, you can do it another day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can put it off to another day, another time. There's always an excuse, a reason to. But if you set, you were talking before about putting things on the calendar and then just doing it because it's there. Man, sometimes that's the best motivation there is. And I'm not poo-pooing habits or goals or plans or anything like that. But man, sometimes you know why I go to the gym on Wednesday and Friday mornings? Because that's what I do on Wednesday and Friday mornings now. I go to the gym, and if I didn't go, people would be like, "Where were you this morning?" You go to it just becomes who you are and not something you do.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
say
good. That's
we
beautiful. Yeah. I
yeah.
like
So
that a lot.
rather than saying I run on Wednesdays, you say you know it becomes part of you rather than something you do.
And that really, I don't think that diminishes goal setting
No,
and habits at all. I think it's the very core of what makes those work when you strip away the artifice and the process. Is what you're really trying to do is change your identity, and you're trying to eliminate a decision, because every time you have to make a decision in life to do
yeah,
something, it's exhausting. And maybe I'm alone on that, but like it makes me so
no,
tired to
no,
decide to do
absolutely,
something. Like if I have to decide to
absolutely.
work out, I will never work it. That's why like I started riding a bike as an adult because I was like, I'm never gonna work out. And so I am a person who rides my bike to work,
I love
and
that.
that is
I
just
love
the
that.
person I am. I
Yeah,
am that
yeah,
person. I was like, you know what? I
yeah,
think I want to be that guy. I think I want to be
yeah.
the guy that does it and that gets into work. And when everybody's complaining about the cars because the snow is so bad, I can be like, oh yeah, the bike trail was great. There was
Yeah.
nobody on the bike trail. I'm
There's
so
nobody on.
cool.
That's great. I love that. But it's because I love that you said I'm the guy who rides his bike to work in the snow. That's that
Yeah,
you're like I'm that guy. And
I'm him.
I think if you say I smoke or I don't smoke, or you say I'm not a smoker, that changes something fundamentally in your mind.
Yeah,
If you say like I'm a person who does these things, uh, it's different.
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
it defines you, and I think the other side of that, like it can be powerful to say you're a thing that's negative so that you're always on guard, like the way alcoholics do, and I don't think that is necessary for most of us most of the time. But that definition, um, but I talk about the fact that I have ADHD far too often, and part of the reason I do that is because it gives me an excuse to be lazy and awful.
Sure. Sure.
But but
Yeah.
the other reason is that like that I need to remind myself frequently that that is my I don't want to say enemy. There's a big push right now to see things like dyslexia and ADHD as a superpower, and it is. There's a
Sure.
lot of power
Sure.
that comes from
Yeah.
the thinking, but it's just too easy for me to backslide into bad habits when I'm
Yeah.
not aware of the fact that I have ADHD,
Yeah.
and it's something that I need to fight. Like that's
Yeah.
just useful for me as a definition. So in the negative and the positive, like having healthy identity is huge. I am this person.
It's a good point, and I think the intent is to use that superpower part of it and recognize the other part of it, and adapt and overcome and surround yourself with people who fill in those gaps and those sorts of things. And you can still be a good leader. I consider myself to have ADHD a little bit, although it's sort of manifested a little differently, and I get focused on things and I get bored of other things. But for me, what it's given me is the ability to think ahead and anticipate, right? So when I get bored with a project, it's about the time when I look around and look at what's coming next. And so that when I'm partway through something where people are working and things are going smoothly, then I can kind of slip away and work on the next. And then when
Yeah.
subordinate leaders are ready for that next thing, I'm ready to hand off, the next project because I've been able to plan ahead. And so in that way, I think you can use your challenges, your setbacks, if you will, to be setups for for greatness. So yeah, I think it's all part of knowing yourself and being able to lead yourself before you can lead others.
Oh, yeah. Great takeaway. Say that again for the kids at home.
Yeah, I think the step one of being a good leader is learning to lead yourself, right? So if you have a hard time with time management, if you have a hard time with goal setting, if you have a hard time with, staying on task or completing projects, then it's going to be really hard for you to lead other people to do so. It's not impossible, but learning how to improve yourself. I think that's why so many leadership books become, self-improvement books, because it really
Yeah.
does matter. Becoming a better person, a better human being makes you a better leader by default in a lot of ways.
Yeah, all the way down to like the one of the silliest feeling things I've ever done in my entire life therapeutically is what they call a loving kindness meditation. And I've been into meditation on and off for a long time, and know that I'm at my best when I'm meditating. And there's a lot of research. I'm sure I'll geek out about that frequently as we go forward, because there's some useful principles and skills in there. But I realized how bad of a leader I am of myself. Like I saw
Mm,
myself leading others and being compassionate and encouraging, and then I saw me turning inward, and it finally hit me at one point that, like, those are the worst qualities of a leader, the way that I was
wow.
trying to lead myself. It just
Interesting.
horrible. There's the hard truths things. I love David Goggins, like, look at yourself in the mirror and have a hard, honest talk with yourself.
Yeah.
That's like epically important, to be
Yeah.
brutally honest with yourself. That compassionate candor, you have to be honest and quick to notice your mistakes, but you have to lead yourself in a way that's decent. That was not a tangent I was planning on going on today, and I'm
Yeah.
excited we came here because
Good.
this is so core to me.
Love it. Love it. So let me go on this tangent, since you already started there with meditation, because I too have it's kind of separately, we've come to this meditation uh, as a useful tool, and I'm going to tell you why it's useful for me, and it might not be why it's useful for you, but
Mm.
here's why. What you what you do when you meditate is about the simplest thing in the world. You sit and you think about nothing, right? And then when you start to wander off and think of other things other than your breathing or whatever you're focusing on, then you gently and softly remind yourself to get back into focus. And it is, the first time I tried it, I think I made it about 17 seconds before I was like, yeah, I can't stand the clicking, the can't talk, the clock ticking in the background. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not into this meditation thing. But I'll tell you what it's done for me more than anything else. It's given me a platform where it's okay to fail, right? Because you're gonna fail.
Whoa.
You're gonna be bad at it. You're gonna be bad
Yeah.
at. Your mind's gonna wander. It's gonna happen,
The
right?
whole
And
point of it
so
is that you'll be bad at it. That's why
right,
it's so
and
effective, because it's
that you get better,
yeah.
right? And it's this process of just being okay with failing, and just coming back to it, and
Yeah.
just not, if you beat yourself up about it, it doesn't do you any good. You just say, okay, I got off track and I'm back on track. And that ability, that mindset shift for me has been huge, as a way to say, hey, I'm off track. I got off track today. I, insert bad thing I did. I scrolled on YouTube all day. I ate a bucket of ice cream. I didn't work out. Whatever your vice is, you did it. Fine. Like, do whatever saying you're sorry you need to do, right, to make it right, but then just get on with it and
Yeah.
move on and just do better.
When we have our normal habits that we've built of trying to convince ourselves to do things or slapping on ourselves on the wrist when we don't do things, that takes up a lot of time and energy that the exercise, and it is exercise, of meditating solves, because you're just getting rid of a massive amount of overhead that you're doing all day long. You're opening loops, you're slapping yourself on the wrist for not doing those things. You're trying to do a million things all day, where if you just did things and then stopped doing things, if your life was as much as possible, this is what I do on Wednesday because this is important to me, but it doesn't matter that it's important to me. It's what I do on Wednesday. Like, as much as you can remove that overhead, it's efficient. It's way more efficient. You have way more of your processing power to do the good things.
Hey, Charlie, I'm going to move a little bit. I think the sun has kind of moved in. I was in a good shadow spot. I'm going to move.
Okay.
So as we get set up for this next clip, I'm not sure if it's going to look strange for me to have a different background, or if you're going to edit this out. Charlie's going to do the magicness of making this look clean. But meanwhile, we'll get set up for. Oh, are you still there? Call Charlie.
This is a fun example of just how much we've been plagued. Oh, it wasn't even out of battery. It just decided to die suddenly, and I'm pulling it.
Hello?
There we go. I don't know why my phone died. The battery isn't even dead. It just got tired and decided to take a nap for a second.
Yeah, your timing was not bad. Yeah, and we didn't do a clap at the beginning to sync our.
And man, we really let's do it now. Let's do a 1, 2, 3 clap, or a clap on 3.
1, 2, clap on 3.
Clap
shall
on
not
3.
Proceed to 4. 5 is right out.
And
3 shall be the number of clapping.
3.
Shall not stop at 2, but shall proceed to 3. Okay, ready? 1, 2. Do you get it?
Beauty, eh? Yep, got it.
Okay.
This is the way that we're going to get this book written is forcing ourselves to read a section a week and do a group write. So if I don't get my writing assignment done, I'm going to look pretty silly come podcast time.
Pretty silly. Yeah, this is a forcing function for us, and we hope it's interesting for you too. But yeah, these things are as much for us as anything. So we have a book, but we don't have a title for it yet. Some learning to lead, my story, leadership, my story, something like that.
My current favorite was my last pitch, a life learning to lead. I thought that was, and basically the book is a memoir of Scott with me doing footnotes. That's kind of the format.
Well, if we read it, then we'll tell the reader that.
Oh, that's a good point. It's baked right into what we're about to read.
Okay, here we go. We'll see if I can read my own writing. This book is not the first nor the last on leadership. It's probably not the best book on leadership. It's selfish, but I wrote it for myself. I wrote it to document my life. This is my story. The book began more like a journal. I suppose I started writing a memoir before I knew what a memoir was, and long before they were popular. It turned into a book on leadership when I realized that much of life is about learning, and much of what I have learned in my life is how to teach and how to lead. At times it will read more like a life sketch. Other times it may feel similar to a self-help book about leadership. At times things may be out of order or out of context, but life is that way. Some lessons are learned quickly, like don't eat glue, learned in chapter 1. Other lessons take a lifetime and are not realized until the pieces of life are put together and the picture to the puzzle becomes clear. Most lessons repeat themselves, sometimes as reminders, and sometimes we finally understand for the first time. As you will read, many of the things I've learned were learned the hard way, from making mistakes, learning from those mistakes, and bouncing back. I write honestly about my failings and hope that you can learn and not make the same mistakes. One of those shortcomings was not publishing this sooner. I've matured immensely since I started drafts. In many instances, I cringe at my own naivety. But in the end, the principles are enduring. You will make mistakes, and I will continue to err and fall short. But learning from your history and the history of others, striving for something better, and leaving a legacy are the rewards of this life. I encourage you to keep your place. I encourage you to write your own story, even if only for yourself. Write it down. You may discover that you've learned more along life's path than you realized, and someone else may benefit, if only to look and say, well, at least I didn't have those challenges, or at least I didn't do that. I make no apologies for the writing style, only explanations. Besides, it's my story and I'll tell it however I want. And then a quote from Benjamin Franklin: if you will not be forgotten after you are dead and rotten, either write things worth the reading or do things worth the writing of.
I probably shouldn't pontificate before I just read my part, but
No, just jump in and read.
I have spent a lot of time in the book lately. I first read a lot of what you were writing 7 or 8 years ago when you started writing this, and enjoyed it then. I've spent a lot of time breaking this in down to the 50 episodes that we'll do of this over the year, and it has just been awesome. Like I know that there's going to be a lot of like moments that for you are cringe, but I love this book. I love this book, and not just because I'm writing it. I'm participating in writing it because I love it. I think it's a story worth telling.
Well, I'll tell you, Charlie, since we're patting each other on the back, I'll pat you right back. This wouldn't really be a book without you as a part of it, and that's really maybe coming next week in the acknowledgments. But really, truly, Charlie, this is really just a compilation of stories of a pretty average guy, and hopefully, what you help it become is a worthwhile read, because it's grounded in science and grounded in observations from other professionals, and so I think it's what makes the combination of you and me together more powerful than each of us alone.
That is true. I think I believe with all my heart you're wrong that this book wouldn't stand on its own, but I do think that I love our pairing. I think we contrast and complement each other well, and that makes this fun. This book would have been written much sooner had it not been for some overwhelming imposter syndrome on my part. When Scott and I first discussed me working on this book with him, it was as much as a research assistant than anything. And even that seemed more than I was qualified for. Through the years, I have failed to contribute much to the writing. It has become more and more an invitation to add my own voice to his speaking about leadership principles and ideals that have occupied many of our conversations, which I cherish. What finally got me writing was realizing the part I may be able to play in this story. You see, I've spent my whole life looking up to my big brother. His time and attention were something I prized. His adventures were something I've lived in awe of all my life. And his wisdom is something that I've worked to instill in my own kids as they've grown. Often, after discussing some principle of leadership or personal development with him, I would find a book or three to read on the subject to try to better understand what it all meant and how I could learn from it. Now, I hope that I can share with you what these lessons have meant to me and how they've affected my own story. And so it is my hope, dear reader, that my part will give you something to help you learn to lead as I have from the life of my big brother.
Cool. Cool. I hope that's as useful for somebody who's listening as it is for us doing the reading, because, I think the reason I was finally able to write this is because I stopped worrying about whether other people would read it or even like it. And it really just came down to I'm writing it for me and for you and for whoever does want to read it or learn about leadership through storytelling. But yeah, I think it came to a point where we had to stop trying and just do. All right. So what comes next? What's the next segment on this here podcast? I think
Okay.
we do want one more segment, and I'm gonna stand up and move around while I'm listening to you
Okay.
share.
Okay. So,
We'll see if that'll work. Go ahead.
okay, perfect. So one of the principles that really stood out to me, and we got into meditation a little bit, and we talked about senseis, and kind of that type of leader. And I love Yoda. I love Neo. I love Mr. Miyagi. Even old kung fu movies, just all of that. And a lot of those wisdoms come from a principle called Wu Wei. And I might even be butchering the pronunciation. I apologize for those who this is a way of life for them.
Yeah, if this gets in a posting somewhere and there's comments, somebody comment in the comments. That's what you do. It shows you how up on the vernacular I am. Put in the comments.
Yeah.
How to pronounce that.
Yeah, like we want the comments to stay positive, but we want them to be a place where we can have some conversations about stuff, because I'm not a neurologist, I'm not a historian, I'm not PhD'd in anything. I'm just a big nerd about stuff, and I'm sharing the bits that I know as best as I can, and I do the research and I try to find experts to learn from. But anyway, that said, just to say, we are so welcoming to additional wisdom, and I'm not claiming to be any kind of authority. So that disclaimer given, I love this principle of Wu Wei, from I don't know if originally from Taoist philosophy, but that's kind of what I associate it with, is the idea of non-doing. And non-doing and doing nothing are very different. But the idea is that when we try, we are focusing on the difficulty and the effort. And there is, of course, a huge place in life where we need to deal with the challenges that we're facing externally and internally. Those things need to be dealt with, and we can't just effort our way out of those challenges. But when we want to do something, we have to do it. We can't try to do it. When it's time to say, I want to sit down and cast some pod, you can't try to do a podcast or a video. You kind of just have to do it. And that is something that I hope we can all get better and better at, is not doing so much as part of our doing, stripping away all the anxieties and all the overhead from that worthy action, and just making it happen, just doing it. Like don't ignore the challenges, deal with the challenges. But when it comes time to do it, when it's Wednesday, you run because it's Wednesday. It's okay to fail. It's okay to just do something and fail. It's okay to have challenges. It's okay to fail at things because of those challenges and to spend time planning. But stop trying when it's time to do, because they're different things. This podcast, this is something that we've decided is just happening.
Even if our cameras die,
Yep.
even if our sound cuts out, even if our videos don't work, we're gonna figure out how to make this work, because Charlie and I, our goal this year is to stop trying and to start doing. And if you're up for that journey to go with us, we'd love to see you on the high ground.
We'll see you on the high ground, everybody.
We'll see you on the high ground.